Hello, friends. Good to see you all. Claire, you were first. What do you think? As long as it's not politics.
Um, well, which topic do you want me to discuss? The drama sounds interesting. That
Oh,
movie you were recommending about.
what
Um,
was interesting about that?
well, you didn't mention what was this terrible thing this woman confessed to, but I know what it is, and I've spoken to a surprising number of Americans who had terrible time at school and actually said, well, if they thought they'd get away with it, they go back to their own school and shoot it up. And that's it's not that uncommon. In fact, I used to think that I would really hate being um, in the American high school that is now kind of being promoted even in the UK. In the UK, we have schools that even have proms, which
Like
is
they would
terrible. But yeah.
they want to shoot up the people or the building? Because I can relate to wanting to blow up the building.
Well, I think they were bullied because, it seems that adolescents in America form themselves into tribes of, geeks and cheerleaders and depending on which group you are, you get the best treatment. Oh, jocks. And if you're, in the wrong group, you are horribly bullied. And that I think it must be a hateful and traumatizing experience, especially if nobody does anything about you being bullied.
So
And
what do you think about what I think is the deeper question of the film though is like if you had someone you were engaged to and about to marry in a short amount of time and they told you something that just terrified you and made you reassess everything that you thought you knew about the person, how would you respond?
Well, it would have to depend on what it is, whether I'm right to make such a big deal of it when, in fact, people have kind of scary fantasies anyway. But, and by telling you that they're in a way saying they trust you, and are you going to betray that trust by reacting in a very negative way when they trusted you enough to tell you what it was that, they thought was so bad? So
Well, what
yeah,
was
you're
hard
in kind of.
what was hard in the movie is she was drunk, so that was part of it. Um, but so for different people, it's going to be different
Mm,
things. And I mean, it's a slight spoiler, but not really, because the rest of the film's really about it. I think what's really interesting is the fallout from that point. Like that is
mhm.
what they call it, like the pinnacle, the denouement or whatever of the film.
Mhm.
And
You've
then
seen it, have you?
yeah, it's awesome.
Mm,
What is
mhm.
it?
Yeah, it sounds good.
It's called The Drama.
No, I know. I mean, what is the thing that she says?
Oh, she says I mean, so spoiler, did I not talk about this yet? She says that
No, maybe you did. I just was gone
she said she
further.
had planned a school shooting and that
Oh,
she was
okay.
going to do a school shooting, but then a number of things, but then like what's so great about the movie is then they immediately go into that. And so they're like, okay, number one, are like for real? Like,
Hmm.
is that real? Like, did he really? And then they want to know, like, okay, but you didn't. Okay, great, you didn't. But why didn't you? It's this instant cascade of like all these follow-up questions trying to discern. But to me, the whole point of it is just like the questions are maybe necessary, right? Because they're giving you information. All that stuff is giving you information. But at the end of the day, the question is, who do you love, me or the thought of me?
Yeah,
Well,
but
Sorry,
can
I
you
lost
tell me
connection for a bit.
how you get to that? The who do you love me? The me or the thought of me from that?
well, no
Because
one
like,
gets unconditional love.
well, that's part of the question. That's part of the question of the film, I think, is what could someone do? Because like there's verses in the New Testament, like neither height nor depth nor breadth nor width, nothing can separate you from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus. Nothing can separate you. Nothing.
Hmm.
No information. Nothing that you've done can separate you from the love of God. And I think that's actually what makes God God. And the whole question is, I think to be like God, a human being needs to be like that.
Well, isn't it presumptuous to think that you could be like God? After all, you're
Not
only
if
a
that's his
mortal.
intention.
Well, I don't think God intends there to be rival gods. He's just saying, obey
I didn't
after
say rival.
understanding what I want from you, which is
But
obedience.
is it impossible to believe? Like, I can't actually think of anything that would make me fall out of love with the people that I love. I like made a joke in your comments about vaping, and I was like, yeah, I vape, and understandably that would change someone's opinion of me, which
Wait a minute.
in a
You
way,
vape?
What if it's
Boot her.
a real
You
killer?
vape?
Oh,
yeah. And I think it's funny but true in a way that, yeah, that would change my opinion of me if I found out that somebody vape, like it's just like so lame, that I would probably lose some degree of respect for a
yeah.
person for vaping. But I also don't think that there's anything I can think of, even a school shooting, even anything, that would make me like stop loving somebody I love.
Ooh, I want to. So this reminds me of Cal's thing. Cal's not in here, but our own converted philosopher. Cal has done he knows a lot about school shooters. Cal gets deep on all sorts of subjects, but like I forget the guy's name. Who's the Sandy Hook dude?
I don't know. I think I know who you're talking about, though. 'Cause I
But
think
like
I've heard him talk.
Cal's spoken about him a lot. I forget his name, but he listened to a podcast once with his father because I think this. So the Sandy Hook shooter, did what he did. Oh, this pen just fell. And then I think he was planning on going and killing his parents or his mother or something, but then something happened and stopped it. I'm maybe forgetting the details. But the point of it is that the father in this interview said that he's gotten to the point that he now wishes his son had never been born.
Is it Adam something?
Adam Lanza. Yeah.
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 I mean,
So the father said, I've gotten to the point where I wish my son had never been born. Now, to me, that is like what's so powerful about that question, because to me, that's almost like that is the antichrist of the Christ comment, like nothing can separate you from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus.
Yeah, but Jesus says that about Judas, right?
It would almost be better if you'd never been born.
I thought he said that to him.
Yes,
Something
but
like
then
that.
like as he did, but then Mark Parker, like he was saying the other day, this is where Jesus is kind of confusing to pin down into any simplistic framework, because Jesus also told Jesus, go and do what you have to do.
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
would it
that was-
Jesus
take
told
for
him
you
to do it.
fall out,
That's kind of mean.
like to fall out of love with your own children? I
Yeah,
feel like is the closest thing we can come to understanding how we are loved by God. So,
Right.
I mean, to anyone who's a parent, like, what would it take for you to? I mean, I've spoken to parents about this who have said, if my child had committed a crime, like I wouldn't turn them in, like I would protect them. And
That's
I'm
funny
not a
that you say
parent,
that.
but I think I probably would do the same thing. I think I would protect my child, even if they'd committed a crime. I can't see a situation where I would like disown my child because they did something wrong.
So there's a distinction with that. So my kids have asked me this question, and or at least a couple of them, and they got mad at me, at least the older two, where they're just like, if I killed someone, would you like turn me into the police? And I was just like, yes.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Right. I know. This is the funny thing. Like, to me, that's a distinction between I would not disown them, but like there's also consequences for shit you do. You know?
I was talking to Joseph and Jess about Ecclesiastes yesterday, and there's a part in there where it says I mean, there's a few parts in there where it talks about it's better if this person never existed or was never born. And I don't know that someone not being born or dying in childbirth really separates your love from them, you know? Because I guess I think there's a way of thinking about it where, like, it was even with someone like Adam Lanza, you'd be like, man, this would have been a lot better if he would have just died as a child rather than have committed all this. Or even, like, I mean, people say that about Hitler all the time too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if he could have, like, if that could have been stopped, then you'd get just a better, like, the public, the universalism. Everybody would just have a better remembrance of you, and not and I guess because it's like, how long in memory are you going to be cast out from humanity as just kind of an evil animal or something, you know?
Well, it must suck to be Hitler's mom.
Rod
Like,
says,
I can't imagine being Hitler's mom. That must suck.
Yeah, but I imagine
But-
she still loves as a child, you know?
Hitler's
Yeah,
mom,
like, I can't
Jordan
think-
Peterson. See,
Yeah.
I think she still loves him. I can't actually imagine what my child could do that would make me like, but it's also a different question. Like, I wish you'd never been born versus I'm going to turn you in to the authorities. Like, I also see your point, Lou, about, yeah, actions have consequences, and I can see myself wanting my child to experience the consequences of their bad actions, but I can't imagine not wanting my child to be born. Like, that just feels unfathomable.
right? Well, I would want my kids. I mean, part of it is like this is. So I was gonna shout out this Ian. I love this conversation. So Inside Incorporated, he had this conversation right here. This Just Love, Wayne Jacobson and Toby something Dutch, and it was phenomenal. But I clipped it, and so in my just like if you just go to my videos, there's a clip of it where they talk about justice and righteousness and biblically and those words and how they're translated and known and understood, and that's part of like justice. I think they say this basically, if I'm remembering it correctly, but basically the biblical idea of justice is almost identical to karma. Like, you reap what you sow. It doesn't, and so it's like that God is not fickle. And like, how do you fix something when you've done something wrong? Well, you make amends, you apologize, you get reconciliation. Like, really the biblical idea of justice, he argues that like the translation and the understanding of righteousness is really like didn't emerge until like the 1500s. And so essentially with that, it's like with my kids, if one of them committed a big crime, there has to be justice. I'm not shielding you from justice. That's not love.
But
Like,
what
there
is
has to be
justice?
justice.
Is it like equatable with the law? Because there's lots of laws that I don't agree with, like selling drugs, for example, like selling psychedelic drugs, for example, random example, but I think that that's actually like a virtuous thing to do. So it's illegal. So if my child committed that crime, I would be okay with that. I would protect them. I would shield them from like the consequences of that if I could. But if they committed like capital murder, obviously that's a different thing. So I just think it's the law is the law, but I don't agree with all the laws. Like, I think some of the laws are really bad.
Part of being in a society, though, is I think you have to, when you can I guess rebel against a law of society is quite a question, because if you do that to some degree, then we're in the place of every man does what is right in his own eyes, and we're like pre-flood levels of chaos. And so you have to somewhat submit to laws of society, but like for me, oh yeah, for sure. Like this is where there's a certain, my prophilicity gives a certain, and the fact that I advocate universalism gives a certain, it can convey a certain way that like I would have a cavalier attitude about this stuff. No, not at all. Like there was something happened with one of my kids once. I don't think they actually stole something at a gas station, but I can't remember what the detail was, or they thought, or maybe they did. I don't remember what it was, but like I made them go back. Like went back, we talked to the teller, we had a conversation. Like I believe no one gets away with anything. Because you can't. Like, be holy as I am holy. Nobody gets away with anything. To shelter your children from repentance and responsibility for their actions is not love. That has nothing to do with my understanding of Christian universalism. Not at all.
I guess we disagree that, like, yeah, I guess we do disagree there.
Because I mean, like, if you have done wrong, if you have missed the mark, to be reconciled to God and your neighbor is to fix that. That's what justice means. Like that has to be fixed. Now, I'm not equating that identically to legislative, punitive, legal punishment with like prison for profit American systems. Like, I don't think those are identical things, but there's overlap.
Yeah, no, I think the laws of the land are like appropriate for the most part, but I also think that some of what, like, I don't agree with the government. I think some of what is going on there is corrupt and incorrect.
Well, for sure.
Some of
like
especially
a lot of it. So when I talk about, especially like drugs, like like some of that is tied up with like big pharma and the pharma lobby and like all the lobbies. And
yeah,
I just, so yeah, there have to be consequences for actions, but like who decides what actions are correct? And I just don't necessarily agree with the government's distinction about all of that. I think that I would have to make that distinction based on like my faith and my discernment, and not the government's ruling over what's right or wrong. So
we're gonna need a list of when you have children. We're gonna need a list of the crimes that you would turn them in for and which ones you wouldn't, so that we can keep track of this. We need to know what your kids can get away with.
Stealing wouldn't be one of them. Murder would be one of them.
Well, like with the stealing thing, like if your kid steals something from a gas station, I don't like just immediately call the police. Like just,
okay, good.
Take them back. Take them to the gas station.
So much shit from gas station. Like, I can't even tell you how much stuff I've stolen. But like that, my bad. Also, I'm not proud of it. But I wouldn't tell.
Claire, what were you going to say?
I was going to ask one boy how many children she has and whether they're well behaved.
No, I don't have children. So like I said at the beginning of this conversation, like I actually have no fundamentally, like I have no right to even engage in this conversation. But I'm hypothesizing, like thinking about if I did have kids, this is what I think I would do. But like I've already said, I don't have kids, so I don't know.
Yeah. I don't either. If I had some you disobeyed, put them up for sale. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, I suppose the idea is not let them think they're going to get away with anything right from the beginning. So they won't even try.
That's that saying where the mom has eyes in the back of her head type thing.
Yeah.
Supposedly it's real.
maybe there's like a gender distinction here, because I think there's a maternal instinct maybe to just like protect, like, yeah, it would take a lot for me. It would take them murdering somebody for me to turn my kid in. And maybe the paternal instinct is more to provide consequences and
Boundaries.
stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it. And to me, I'm like, I'm protecting your eternal soul, not your like current discomfort.
Yeah, like, and material well-being. Like, I do think that that's maybe the paternal-maternal distinction. So
yeah,
I think
also, I told you not to eat candy at all, you little bastard, and you're stealing it from the gas station.
Yeah, because
you won't feed him candy.
Yeah,
why did you
my fault.
steal?
It's my fault because I wouldn't buy him energy drinks and candy.
Exactly. He's got to get it from somewhere.
Just to get gummy worms from somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too much restriction. What was that story? I was trying to find that. I can't remember her name. Oh, Rizpah. That story of Rizpah in the Bible where she, I think it's some of Saul's relatives. I think one of them's her son, or maybe multiple ones are their son, and David hangs them in order to get peace with, I don't know, some group of people. I think it's Gibeonites or something. And she goes out and like lays out there by her kid while they're hanging there and keeps the crows off and like keeps things from picking away at them. So that kind of reminded me when you're talking about just like a mom's connection to her children and stuff, because she, like, you know, even though they had to be put to death and everything, like she just was still out there until David took him down and buried him.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
I love how, God, I love this trad cath turn from Mark D. Parker. Why do you think you're more righteous than the government? Are there areas you disagree with the government, Mark?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Claire asked
government, maybe?
I thought Claire asked a good question in the comments a while back too, when she was talking about unconditional love, and like asked, does God even get our unconditional love? Because I don't know that he does. Like, it's, you know, I think the correct answer is to say yes, he does. But then I feel like my more honest answer is like, no, I don't know if he does. Because, you know, there's sometimes where you're really, really freaking hurt by life and you're like, you know, I just want to kind of give God the middle finger right now.
What is interesting, and this seems minor, I want to welcome David, but I want to respond to that really quick because I want to get your answer to, would you turn your child in if they stole candy or murdered someone? And also, what would you do if you were engaged to someone and they said they potentially were gonna shoot up a school but didn't at one point? So to respond to your, what happened to Willen Boy?
She's hitting the vape.
Is it possible that PVK and Boy are the same person? Is that
so? To your point though, yesterday, like I had a moment a few days ago where I was thinking that, because I played a Pete Holmes clip a while ago where he said one of the mantras he tries to do is just like say yes, thank you to like whatever happened, like yes, thank you. You know, whatever happens in his life, just like, yes, this is an opportunity. Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. And I was stressed enough by like just different factors that were happening. There were enough things that were stressful, and I was talking about some of that with my wife. And then I think I was getting groceries and I got out of the car and then I just like clipped my hip, which I just went to touch my hip right now thinking of it, which is still sore and bruised on like my wife's mirror. And it was just like one of these things that is not that big a deal. And I was just like, where you either have the impulse to just be like, of course, yeah, that would happen. What is this? The world's smallest violin?
No, it's your legs. I'm doing it on your little. Am I on your little icon thing?
Oh yeah,
right corner. Yeah. It's like you're a naked baby.
But then I felt bad, and I was even saying this to my wife and my son, where it was God. This is regarding God's unconditional love, and I came in and I was saying, there are times where I think with God, where I'm like, I know this is all just like opportunity for patience, and it could breed resilience in me, but I'm just like, please, like I've had enough for today. Like seriously, sometimes I feel like saying just like fuck you. That's enough, you know? Look at this guy. That's
Oh,
That's what I was waiting
I've
on.
been feeling a lot of well, I've been wondering about the difference between like punishment and how do I explain it? It's like I keep saying to people in my life, I feel like I'm being punished, but I don't think that God does that. Like, I guess that's what I understand of the orthodox understanding of punishment versus like consequence. And I've been definitely wondering and struggling with this question of like, I feel like I'm being punished. And I spoke to my mom today and she was like, but you're not being punished. That's not how God works. And I was like, I know I'm not being punished, but I feel like I'm being punished. And I
think it's
I'm
pretty
contending with
complicated though, because if you take something like the flood, and I was thinking about the flood while you guys were talking before, because God says he regrets creating humanity. I regret that I made people.
That's because
Right.
of open theism, though.
But within that context, it sounds like the image is that God is holding back constantly the chaos, and that his punishment is just no longer holding it back, right? And he speaks in this way about Israel as a nation, that he's constantly holding back all these other nations, and when they like his punishment for them is just, I'm not going to hold back anymore. Even the angel of death, quote unquote angel of death, in the Passover, it says that he's like, it seems like the destroyer is in Egypt and God is constantly holding it back, and he's just not going to hold it back for those who have not put the blood of the lamb on their doors.
Yeah, you just reap what you sow.
Right. But
Justice.
it's an interesting image that God is continuously holding things back in our lives. And do we count that as like as a punishment if he just is no longer holding it back?
Well, it's also a grace. I think I equally feel lucky and punished in equal measure. Like, I think it's because I'm God's favorite, but I also think it's because I'm doing stuff wrong. And that is just a hard thing to contend with, I guess, is the only way that I could say it. Like, I think I'm punished more, kind of. And maybe that's an arrogant thing to say, but I sense that it might be true.
Be careful. God will punish you. I'm just kidding.
You already is. I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but no, not that I'm punished more, but I feel the effects of it more. Maybe that's how I could say it. Like, I think that I just sense this more truly. Yeah.
Okay, we haven't, Ian, we have not welcomed, well, PVK or Ian or JD or now Jess have not spoken. One of you speak.
People said jump in, so I jumped in. If I sit right here and move my lips, am I Luke talking?
You are Luke's talking genitals, actually, which is very bizarre. It's a very bizarre choice.
Why would you say something like that? And then
Because that's the, it doesn't,
It's
it didn't
become
cut
full
off
circle.
here.
PVK's nuts. We were your nuts, and now you're my nuts.
You're gonna drive Claire from the stream. Will you keep talking like this? We need to be serious.
I'm enjoying it, everyone. Carry on. Talking about your nuts.
Oh, I just jumped in because I didn't know what you were talking about. I was just happy you were streaming and people said jump in, so I jumped in. But you got all these people, so I'm probably going to jump out and listen.
So were you listening, or do you just not know what I'm talking about like everyone else who was also listening, who were listening?
I don't know what you were talking about. You start early, and then I usually don't jump on until my wife goes to work. So that I was doing other things, and I turned, oh, Luke's streaming, so I jumped in, and that's why I said, do I back up and listen to the whole thing, or do I just jump in? And Claire said, jump in, so I jumped in.
We're talking about how much you love your
School
kids.
shootings were the most important part.
Yeah, if you're because that's the movie, the drama. That's the question. Like, if you were engaged to someone and you were sitting around drunk one night saying, "Tell us, let's all say the worst thing we've ever done," and they said, "I planned a school shooting but didn't go through with it," would you still love the person, or would that be a kind of betrayal that would make you rethink everything in your love of a person? Which I'm relating to the John Mayer lyric, "Who do you love, me or the thought of me?"
Well, what's better, to plan a school shooting or to not go through with it?
Yeah, but is the kind of person who did plan a school shooting at some point in their life, is that someone that you can love?
People inside are monsters. Absolutely. I have no problem with someone saying they planned a school shooting and didn't go through with it.
I think it's all right as long as they say, before I was a Christian, and then they say that.
Yes.
Have you noticed you can tell incredible, horrible stories as long as you give that preface?
That was before I
Get
was
ready for something amazing, guys. As long as you put that preface in front of it.
Listen, Hebrews, once you've tasted the heavenly gift, if you then submit yourself.
Fully trustworthy. I trust that guy. I don't care what he did. He gave the proper preface. No, and honestly, this is one of the things that the Orthodox are really pushing right now, is like this idea of like, you're still going to get punished for you're still going to get the consequence of the thing that you did, even if God forgave you, right? And to some extent, I feel like the Protestants have dropped that a little bit, and they need to come to terms with like, yeah, you're fully forgiven, and also we should never talk again. Like, and
the Catholics split the difference with purgatory.
Right. But and also though, like I do feel, first off, you don't have to marry anyone. And there's like a bunch of relationships that for me ended before I ever got married. And I was just like, if I knew this thing that came out after like months of dating, I never would have we would have broken up right there, because it would have been a waste of time. Right. Like, and I feel that a lot of arguments are actually you trying to figure out if the person you're arguing with is a different person than you first conceived of them as. Right. You don't have to marry a school shooter. Right. I don't think that's a Christian requirement.
See, I'm more superficial than all of this, because like if someone I was gonna be with was like I used to be ugly, I would just be like, we're done. That's it. I will not be with someone who was possibly ugly at one time.
What if they used to be underage?
Nope.
It's true. Many of the people I dated used to be underage at one point.
JD, it looks cold. What's up? Tell us about what's forgivable and what's not.
Hey, what's good? I saw that you put RZA in the title, so I had to join because I love Wu-Tang. But I wanted to, I just, like, you guys were talking about some things, and I wanted to sort of touch on a few of them. Number one, it would be great to have a whole long conversation one of these days about Judas and that whole line about it would have been better if he had never been born. I have so many thoughts about that. I've always been kind of team Judas a little bit. I feel bad for the guy, and I don't understand if it would have been better that he had never been born, that don't make him. And anyway, whatever. But like the other thing is about the whole thing about, could you turn your child in and would you still love them and everything like that? So like those are two different questions, obviously. I think no matter what, I would still love my child. Even if Jesus thought Judas should have never been born, clearly he still loved Judas. So maybe that father even loves his son that you were talking about, and he feels it's better for his son that he would have never been born. I don't know, but as far as turning your kid in, I feel like I'm not saying what the right thing to do is, but I'm kind of with her that like just knowing my child did something heinous and terrible, I would I feel like the protective instinct for people I love is too strong. I wouldn't be able to turn them into a cruel system, even if they did something bad, unless I thought they were going to do another terrible thing. If I thought my child was like still a danger to other people, that was the one thing that could help me overcome that. But that protective instinct for people you love can be very strong.
I think deliberately in the gospel, we're supposed to line up Judas and Peter, because it's right after, like, Jesus says, someone's going to betray me. Jesus says, Peter says, it's not going to be me. And then Jesus essentially says, yeah, it is. You are going to deny me 3 times. Right. And so there's even this, I think, and like at the end of that night, I think Peter thinks he's the betrayer. Like, so I do.
And also the Peter thing, I've never been mad at Peter for that either, because like if I was Jesus, I'd be telling everybody, like, if anybody asks you if you know me, just say you don't know me. All right. You need to survive this. Like, I wouldn't be upset that they said, I don't know. Like, I would be telling you guys, don't say that. Like, you know, like if you care about somebody, you don't want them to get like beaten up by a mob and killed. I never understood why that was such a big deal either, to be honest.
I think the unforgivable thing that Judas did was just the kissing a boy. I think that was the part that was the worst.
Yeah. See, those are the things we don't learn.
If somebody was gonna benefit from being turned in, like, I'll tell the story really quickly. So my dad's wife, her brother is in prison, and he was like a drug addict his whole life, and now he's in jail, and they're all like, yeah, this is the only way that he can stop being a drug addict. And in that case,
yes,
there's sometimes when it's appropriate to, like, for their own sake.
It also depends on whether or not you trust the prison system to be rehabilitative or to just like wreck the person worse.
Yeah, I think that in this case they tried everything else. Like,
fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not arguing the American prison system doesn't need some serious help, because like that's obviously true.
Yeah, there's this it's weird because you have, I don't know, different times in the Bible when people get turned in or people get cast out, even children, like with Cain and Abel. And then there's that one time, usually I feel like people give David some crap because he didn't cast out his son when his son raped his daughter and all this stuff, and then it blew up into this whole big thing. So there was that point, but then there's also a verse there's multiple times in the Bible where like you even have someone stand basically against God to kind of protect the people a lot. Like, I mean, I think Moses does that when God's killing all the people. He goes and kind of stands in the gap. Then there's a part in Ezekiel where God says, I sought for a man to stand between me and the wall, or me and the city, so that I shouldn't destroy it, and I found no one. So there is kind of this higher authority wanting to bear down, and it's kind of searching for someone to advocate on the I don't know, the accused behalf or something. All right, I'm gonna go.
Thanks for coming, cutie.
Bye, Jason.
Jess.
What's up? Can you hear me?
Something. Yeah, we can. The audio's not the best, but it's okay. But tell us about something, maybe. You have any?
I just saw everyone cool was in here, and I just wanted to join.
Oh.
I mean,
talk about Job.
Well, I can. I have a one-track mind, baby. That's all I think about.
I mean, Job's kind of about everything, so.
I know. I feel like you can always tie it in, and then, well.
I used your new sermon, Jess. Did you see that?
I know I did see that, Paul.
I stole it completely.
I'm so happy.
I gave you credit.
I know. And then I made a short about that one video you made. Did you see that?
Yeah. That was good too.
Is dear to my heart.
It's all about sharing with each other. Sharing is
That's
caring.
right. Sharing is caring. Like I would. Well, let me just tell you this about like your children and whether you turn them in or whatever. This is a very minor thing. But my son decided to buy some quote unquote replica luxury watches. So like Rolexes that are not, they're knockoffs. So he bought them, and then he's not trying to scam anyone like by saying that they're the real thing or anything. But he's like it has a Rolex logo on it, you know, and he's trying to sell it for a couple $100 or whatever. And I was like, why are you doing this? He's like, well, because people like them and people want them. I'm like, yeah, but it's like, I mean, I work in media, so I'm aware of the copyright and the laws being violated by the company that made these. You know, some Chinese company made a Rolex watch without compensating Rolex, and the reason why people want it is because of the logo. It's not because of the quality of the watch itself. And you know, I'm trying to have this conversation with him, and he didn't really understand. Like, he's like, "What's the big deal?" And like, well, why don't you sell a watch that's just a $200 watch that doesn't have the fake Rolex logo on it? And he's like, yeah, but people don't want that. I'm like, yeah, but that's the brand that Rolex built that you need to compensate them for, and they didn't get compensated. It doesn't matter. Like, it's like I'm kind of trying to argue from principle.
But listen, Jess, it's not fair because the whole capitalist system isn't fair, and Rolex has enough money, and so
I know.
Yeah, keep going. Sorry.
Well,
yeah, well, like it's all this justification for it, and I'm just like, how do you know? I'm taking sort of a principled stand, basically, just sort of like Rolex needed to be compensated. They weren't. These are basically kind of like partially stolen goods, like but he just wants to just buy and sell some stuff to make some money.
Yeah, it's simple, Dad. Duh.
I guess I feel very different. Maybe because I'm younger or something, but the same thing I was saying earlier about stealing.
I'm 25.
And then also,
how old are you?
31.
I'm just kidding.
But in the comments earlier, you were talking about like what's the difference between something being real and not being real, and I had said something like it's the aura of the thing, and I do think that like a reproduction of the Mona Lisa is not the Mona Lisa, but a fake Rolex watch, I also kind of resent the people that are willing to spend that much money on a watch. That sounds bad, but
yeah, it seems like just the wrong crowd of people to be associating with.
And there's a part of me that's like, if you can get scammed like that, then you should. That sounds so bad, but like the principle of the thing applies to like murder and I don't know, fraud, but probably in my mind it doesn't really apply to like I guess that is fraud, but in a way.
Well, it's strange because everyone buying and selling them knows that it's not a real Rolex. So like it's this weird thing where I'm like, I know you're not trying to scam people, and you weren't scammed buying them. So like the only thing is that Rolex is not a part, like you're using their brand in order to sell the
like who's trying to give Rolex more? I think Rolex has enough money. Like I don't know how to. I guess you're talking about the principle of the thing, and I guess I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I think-
interesting.
Yeah, there's a law against cheap imitations. It's called passing off, right? If you pretend that your watch is something that it isn't, but then people can say, well, it's still a watch. You can still use it to tell time, and you are getting some use from it. And so when you bought it, no, not paying Rolex prices, you already
Yeah,
knew
you knew
it wasn't really
what
a
you were
Rolex.
doing. You knew what, and anyone buying a $200 Rolex knows that they're not buying a Rolex.
Yeah.
So this is part of it. I said this in the what is real thing, and I think this is the cultural, societal group idea of like assigning value to something, which I don't think is arbitrary, but it is relative. It is contextual, because part of the reason why Rolexes are so expensive is because people all have decided that they are.
Mhm.
I mean, that's definitely part of it. I love that channel. It's not an exact reason why, but I was just showing it on here. It's Business Insider does it, but it's called So Expensive, and it'll walk you through why certain things are so expensive. And like there are lots of good reasons why certain things are expensive, and and it's educational. It's kind of fun to just be like, why are these particular kind of like what are barnacles or like mussels that grow on this thing? Why are they so expensive? Because they're a super pain in the ass thing to harvest. Or like morel mushrooms, you can't grow them. That's why they're so expensive. People have to go out and walk up and down giant hills in the woods to find them naturally grow. Like there are reasons sometimes why things are expensive. Now the question is like, does that matter to you? Maybe not.
Fake morel
Yeah, well,
mushrooms are
but
poisonous, so you cannot sell knockoff morels. That's
So, what's the difference between a fake Rolex and wearing fancy clothes and makeup to make yourself more attractive?
Oh, snap.
well, here, like
Womboy,
for
why'd you do
me,
it? No, I'm just kidding.
for me, I'm just like the principal thing is that you're using Rolex's mark, and it had been not, they didn't give consent for that. So that's like, I think I can make an argument for that. And the reason why someone wants to pay $200 for a fake Rolex is they don't think it's real. No one, but they want to wear it, and they want to have someone glance at them and not be able to tell whether it's real or not. And so that's the appeal, is like you can wear something, it's like the same thing with the designer handbags or any number of items that are fake, but it gives you the appearance that you have something luxurious. And in a social, in a social environment, that's what's being bought and sold here. And Rolex is kind of the well, it's the signal. And so you're like, I'll just borrow the signal from Rolex. They already have enough money. Well, I'll take the signal and I'll just apply it to this watch that, and this gets into interesting things because of modern manufacturing. I've seen that. I saw a short documentary on fake watches where some of them are almost indistinguishable from the real thing, because basically at the I'm going to throw the Chinese under the bus, but at the Chinese factory, they take apart
We have
the
feedback somewhere. Keep going, Chinese.
they take apart the watch, and they manufacture every single part that was in the original watch, and they put it together the same exact way. And it's actually like some of these quote unquote replicas, knockoffs, you'll pay thousands of dollars for, because it's such a high quality, actually mechanical piece, but they did it all with cheap labor, and they're not building it in Switzerland or Germany, or assembling it in Switzerland or Germany, and they're doing it with maybe a quicker manufacturing process.
Yes, that's part of my question, because they get into that in the RZA conversation. They talk about watches. They talk about that exact thing. And that's my thing. It's like, is it the same then if it's made with cheap labor? No, because it has hidden costs. This is the whole part of like, there are hidden costs with shit, people.
Yeah, so what is that? Like, I'm trying to like help my son understand what it is that's wrong, other than just like, hey, you shouldn't sell things with a Rolex mark on it. Like for him, that feels like I had a whole conversation on it, so I think he kind of understands. But like part of it feels kind of arbitrary for him, and he's like, "You're just trying to keep me down because this is a good way that I can quickly buy and sell stuff to make some money.
Can I ask a
I think
question?
the simple answer
Like,
is
how
to
do I
lie. It's a
describe
lie.
this?
Yeah. Who's asking a question? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Me. I sort of tying into PVK's point to a question about difference between that and like makeup or sort of what you're. Do the customers like in this scenario like they know they're buying a fake one, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Totally.
If you're buying
There's
a
nothing
$200
fraudulent
Rolex,
happening.
you know that it's not
Yeah,
real.
yeah. I think I like it. Like the person wearing the makeup knows they're wearing makeup. The person wearing the fake Rolex knows they're getting a fake Rolex. If you were selling something to somebody telling them it was a real one and it was a fake one, I would have a bigger problem with that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a whole. Yeah.
If Luke or Claire or Jess had their own watch company that it was like a startup and they're just trying to get it off the ground, and I took your name and I started putting it on my fake watches, that would be really messed up. I just don't feel that bad for like Rolex. Like I feel like there is a power dynamic that naturally plays into the moral equation a little bit, like where they're doing okay, they're going to be okay, and everybody knows this is the fake one, and no one who wants the real one is going to go to the kid selling the fake one. So what it really comes,
I don't feel bad for the person buying the fake Rolex either. Like, you're buying social capital that isn't earned,
I think it's
whatever people
stupid.
think.
I think it's stupid.
Stupid.
I think it's very stupid. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like I wouldn't like if they really thought they were buying like a real like if I was one of those guys from like 95.
No one in their right mind would be trying to buy Rolex for $200. It's just impossible. Like, it's
right. Yeah, but I mean, I don't believe in like punishing people for being stupid. You know what I mean? I feel bad for people who are stupid, but like,
Okay, so I mean, here's the question then. Like, I don't want my son to be stupid. How do I explain to him like this is just sort of a dumb thing to be? Like, I don't want him selling to people that want a fake Rolex. I don't want him buying fake Rolexes. Like this just seems like a bad vibe.
Use the whole Luke thing about like the hidden costs of the fake one, and like tell a sob story about like the sweatshops and everything that went into this fake Rolex.
He might not.
Yeah, but I'm wearing a T-shirt made from the same sweatshop.
Yeah, true.
What I would feel like saying to him is something like, I don't want to give, because who I like feel sorry for are the people who want other people to think they're wearing a real Rolex.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to give you the opportunity to be such a shallow person. You want to trick wearing a Rolex? Like,
yeah, please. But what if they were like going undercover as like one of these type of people, and they just needed something real quick?
There you go. It's an undercover cop. That's where. See, I'm not imaginative enough to not be guilty. That's what Grim Grace is saying. What's the difference between selling a fake Rolex and selling
your best argument would be that he's encouraging this like superficiality that is better than him. Like,
yeah,
better than that.
Yeah, I can tell you that. Rillian, you're right. If I'm ever wearing a Rolex, you can be damn well sure it's a real one. Like, I would not wear. I'd die.
What the person had good reason to get into a specific kind of party that everybody had to show a Rolex to get into the party, but once they were in there, they were on a whole other mission, you know. And like they just
party. Are they like a spy or like trying to get a visa?
Yeah.
Like, I don't
exactly.
How many spies are my fake Rolexes?
What valid reason would that be?
This is the Rolex party. I don't know.
I love how we're justifying like a fake Rolex, just like undercover spy stuff. Yeah.
Espionage is international waters, morally speaking. Like there are lots of different moral quandaries within espionage that are all put to the side because we need to find out secrets about people, and secrets are already automatically morally questionable.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, because I think we could finish this thing. I did want to play off of it, but
Yeah. Well, like, what if you know people are stupid? You think the whole thing's just like dumb, but you're like, I'm just going to take stupid people's money if they want to pay for it, and I
That's
need to make
messed
some
up.
money, and I'm going to work my way up to where I'm going to buy real Rolexes and resell real Rolexes, but I got to do this to get to that level.
But you still got to let them know it's a fake.
Yeah. There's no fraud going on.
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
But
that's fine.
But you're just like, I need to hustle for a bit. Like Jason just mentioned in the comment, he's like, let your son hustle. Like, I don't want to discourage him. I feel like I already have. But like, I'm just like, and then like, but I'm like, what if he's okay with just selling to stupid people and taking their money? Can you be okay with that? Is that a moral? Like, I mean, I make
the way you say it, selling to stupid
companies.
people and taking them. I don't believe in taking advantage of people's weaknesses like that.
The most
how you
convincing
practice
argument
is how
I've
you
heard
play.
so far was just like, you shouldn't be like taking advantage of stupid people, which fine, but also like no one in their right mind is buying a Rolex for $200. Like, that's just absurd.
Yeah, they're paying a fair rate for the quality of watch they're getting. It's not like there's fraud. You're not like overcharging there. You're not taking advantage.
They want to buy a fake Rolex. That's the thing. They want to buy a fake Rolex.
Yeah, this is how I feel, Hezzy. There's still fraud in the chain of the whole thing. Why not buy a Fossil watch, which is a lower quality brand name?
Buckle, buy a Fossil watch.
Because they're trying to buy
that's what I said to him. I said, why don't you do that instead? He's like, but people don't want those. Like, the demand isn't there.
Social capital. It's not about buying a watch. It's about buying social capital.
Yeah.
So, like, willing buyer, willing seller. I don't see the problem in this.
Jess, maybe you should use your connection to PVK to get him to wear a type of watch that your son could buy, and then drive the social capital up, and then he could just sell the PVK Fossil watch.
The PVK Fossil watch. I love this idea.
Because
I would just have a hard time.
It's me. It's me. I mean,
yes.
Blue shirts all over the world right now.
PVK is about to drop his PVK coin. We can all get it.
I would just have a hard time being part of the whole cycle of like valuing these superficial things and encouraging people to spend mad money on stupid things like that. Whoever mentioned that point, I kind of psychologically and morally, that's kind of where I land on it. But if I'm gonna judge somebody else for it, I can't really judge someone else for it if they're being honest about it.
This is one of the funniest conversations I've ever had, by the way. Like, we've been talking about this for so long.
So I wanted to go off of the idea of like using the social capital of the brand, because it was making me think of the story where the disciples are getting upset with the people that are like casting out demons and healing people using Jesus' name. And Jesus is like, yeah, no, that's fine. That's on brand. Like we're with those guys, even if we don't know them or whatever. We're on the same mission. So that was interesting to me, because it's like, I don't really want to loop it back to the Rolex thing, but I was thinking about how I have an unreleased conversation coming Monday with Aaron Parker, morning talk show. And we were talking about how people identify with groups because it justifies them. Like, you feel justified by the group that you identify with. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you are representative of the group that is justified. Like, you could be not quite aligned, but you could be you could have the superficial appearance of being aligned, or the fake Rolex of being aligned with this justified group. And that's what was interesting to me. Is like, I think I know a lot of people who are aligned superficially with Jesus because of the forgiveness of sins aspect of Christianity. But then when it comes to like the reality of it, there's very little alignment in their life. Like there is no legitimate, genuine Rolex quality. There's no imitation in the sense of like, imitate me as I imitate Christ. There's nothing genuine about their Christianity, in finger quotes. And yet they claim the social capital of that title. And so I agree in general with the idea that we don't want to encourage the process of fraudulently claiming capital from a brand, even if you're just like passing that on to someone whose intention is to do that. Like I would never say like, oh yeah, you can use the various verses in this book to feel better about yourself if you just like say them or misquote them or read them out of context. Like I don't want to pass that on to somebody. Or yeah, you just have to come to church on Sunday and then everything's going to go right in your life and you'll be blessed. Or it's very cause and effect, I guess. They were talking about that on Ethan's channel this morning. Cause and effect versus call and response. It's not relational. You don't have a relationship with the original or authentic brand / person. And
Well, the brutal
that's what I got.
What do you mean, Ian, about cause and effect? You're saying we should discount it? Oh,
Sorry, Claire.
he's gone.
Also, I want to welcome.
I guess he didn't want to answer.
Well, he couldn't hear. He left. He's probably coming back. So